Good morning, it's Saturday the 29th of July 2023. We're here for day one of Cows Week, it's the 197th edition and we're here at the Yacht Squadron. Welcome, I'm Josie Glidden and this is the first of 7 Musto Morning Briefings to help the competitors do their last minute preparations for the race ahead. I'm going to be joined with two guests today, Emma Tattersley, who is our weather expert, and also Lauren Mead, who's the regatta director. This is Emma, welcome, this is your first Cows Week, so tell me, what have you made of it so far?
Hello, it's been absolutely brilliant, plenty to look at with terms of the weather, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Brilliant. So as a competitor we have so much choice as to where we should be looking for our forecast, but quite often it can be quite confusing, quite conflicting. So it's always good to get a professional's opinion on things. What do you think is going to be happening today?
So this morning, firstly, a cold front went through from the west, which is why it was a bit rainy and pretty murky this morning. That's cleared through, clouds lifting and bubbling up, and then later on we've got a weak occlusion coming in from the west. So as it does so, expect to see a couple of showers potentially developing across kind of the mainland. In association with that, we're likely to see thermal enhancement of the breeze, which is the reason we've got this kind of earlier starts, a little bit of strong wind, possibly gusts into the kind of late 20s, maybe even early 30s later on this afternoon. So just watching for those showers develop over the mainland is the main key.
Oh, okay, so is it going to rain on us, or is that more over the mainland today?
Most likely over the mainland. I'd never want to say it's not going to rain on us. That's always putting myself into a box. But I think it's possible that we'll see the odd light shower, but if you do see any rain, it's not likely to linger for too long.
Okay, thank you very much.
No worries.
That's really good to hear. So I think we're going to have a windy day today. Looking at the forecast, we may have a windy couple of days ahead of us. And so, of course, Lawrence Mead, who is the regatta director, you've already been in a briefing today, haven't you, Lawrence?
Yes,
to talk about where we might be going.
We get down here before everybody else wakes up and start looking at the forecast, see whether it's the same as it was the day before or if there's any nuance into it. And also we review the plans that we made last night that I talked a little bit about at the skipper's briefing. So, yep, day's already started on the platform.
Great, thank you. So there's a couple of fleets. We've got the black group and we've got the white group. Can you give us an insight as to where we might be heading today?
I can. We're going to stick with the plan that we came up with yesterday. We're obviously building around the weather forecast. We want to try and get everybody back on the dock by 2, finish the races sort of 1:30. So we've brought the starts forward, as everybody's aware of. So the little nuance is that the Cape 31s are going to start downwind from the Royal Yacht Squadron. So I know, Josie, you're on a Cape, so get the spinnaker ready. So you'll be going off downwind all the way off towards Stokes Bay. So great long run to start with. Now the clever nuance is that once you've started, there's a 10-minute gap and we will switch the line. So the other boats that are starting on the Yacht Squadron will go west upwind.
That's good to know.
It is good to know.
Really good to know.
So while you're going that way, all the rest of the boats on the squadron are going to go that way to the west. So that will sort them out. Those boats that start here in that group will race in the west, quite far west. Committee Vessel 1 will be where we used to call the Bramble Bank line, the Bramble Start line, which is just near West Knoll, just to the west of the Bramble Bank. That group will race in the near west, as I call it, rather than the far west. Committee Vessel 2 will be in its usual position just off Hill Head, and they will start 3 classes, Etchells, Darings and Dragons, who will have a race round the buoys and come back to finish at the breakwater, whereas the J70s and the SB20s will have a couple of windward-leeward races down there. I say a couple. If we're lucky, it'll be 2. Depends on the wind speeds. Race officer will make that decision on the moment. And then Committee Vessel 3, which is all of the smaller white group boats, will be on the Ryde Bank near Little Ship Buoy, and they will do some races underneath the shelter of the island and then finish at the breakwater. So sounds complicated when I read it out at speed, but it's all on the app. The only clever nuance is this switch from Capes going east, everybody else on the squadron line going west.
Thank you, Lawrence. So it's quite breezy today. We have a forecast which seems like it might be increasing over the next couple of days. And of course, safety is incredibly important. So when we have a Y flag, the yellow and red one, we all know and love. Why or when do you put that up?
We put it up as an aid memoir for the racers some of the time. And then other times, like today, we will be putting it up for all fleets because we think it is the only safe, prudent thing to do. So today will be Y flags for everybody. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't wear your life jacket on other occasions. If you are a skipper or a crew and you're not as good a swimmer as Mark Spitz, then perhaps you should be wearing your life jacket even in light winds and flat water. So we're not here to make those decisions for you all the time, but certainly there are some circumstances like today where we say, okay, you must wear a life jacket.
It makes total sense, absolutely. And then of course sometimes it gets just too windy to sail. So when do you guys decide when it's too windy to sail for each of the fleets?
You've hit the $64,000 question for us. That is the big one. Obviously, the front of the fleet and the back of the fleet are different levels of experience, different levels of crew training, and it's impossible for us as an organising authority to make a decision about what is the right condition to race for every boat. So it is ultimately the decision of the skipper and the crew to make that decision for themselves, and make no bones about it, we cannot make that decision for everybody. If somebody doesn't think they should put the spinnaker up because they've been training less or practicing less than the boat next to them, that is the right decision. Conversely, I don't want to say to people, okay, well, it's not safe to race in 29 knots of wind, because it is. So it's a fine balancing act. We do have wind limits, and we will abandon racing when we think it's unsafe to do so. And obviously, for the smaller boats, Sunbeams, I learnt in the winter, have less freeboard than an XOD. So we're very sensitive to low freeboard, older boats, and we do what we can by tucking them into the island, and then cancelling their racing at an earlier wind speed than perhaps Gladiator might get.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. So obviously there's all sorts of different levels of ability and boats out there racing today. And Lawrence, you've been talking to some people who've already been preparing for today's racing. So let's go and hear what they have to say.
Fraser, good to see you. Normally sailing Etchells. I think you're sailing Capes tomorrow.
Yeah, Cape 31, Gallet tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
Big breeze.
Yeah. No, we go well in the breeze, so we're looking forward to it a lot.
Okay. And been doing practice?
Yeah, we had a good practice day today.
What was your top wind speed today?
I didn't see, actually.
Top boat speed?
I'm sat too far forwards for that to see the instruments.
Top boat speed? High teens?
Yeah, 15, 16 probably.
Okay. Weak link on the boat is who?
We have a relatively new bowman, Will Bedford.
Will Bedford on the bow?
Yeah, but he's fairly young, but I'm sure he'll get into it.
Good stuff. Have a good day.
Cheers. Nice to see you, Lawrence.
Thanks, Fraser.
Thank you.
Hannah, good to see you. Cows Week comes round again.
I know. How are we here again already?
I know. How many have you done now?
Oh, too many to count.
Okay, I won't ask that question of a young lady. And you brought your helper.
I've got
dogs come with us.
Important helper here for the week.
Is the dog trimming or somebody more competent?
No, I think we're going to depend on the dog mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And what class are you sailing?
We're sailing in IRC 3.
Okay, on a
J99.
Excellent, very nice. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait. It will be our 5th and 6th day sailing the boat since we got ahead this year. So
okay.
Should be good.
We'll wish you luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for listening to the Musto Morning Briefing, brought to you by our technical clothing sponsor Musto. See you tomorrow, same time, same